So what if you could build out your entire data pipeline just by talking to it? Today, we're going to dive right into Coalesce Copilot and show you exactly how to do that. Whether you're brand new to Coalesce or you're just looking to get way faster with AI, this is for you.
Here's our game plan. First, we'll get properly introduced to our new AI teammate. Then we'll cover the, let's call them, rules of engagement, which is super important. After that, we'll build a pipeline from just a simple prompt, look at how to refine the results, and then finish up by talking about when to use Copilot and when to stick with the classic UI.
All right, let's kick things off. To really get the most out of any tool, you gotta understand what it's for. So before we even think about writing a prompt, let's get clear on what Coalesce Copilot actually is, and just as importantly, what it isn't.
This quote really is the best way to think about it. Copilot isn't just some dumb code generator. No, it's more like an assistant that actually understands the context of what you're doing inside Coalesce. Its whole job is to take your goals, written in plain English, and turn them into a real, working data pipeline.
So here's the magic, right? Instead of you clicking through a bunch of menus to create nodes, set up transformations, you just describe the outcome you want. Copilot takes care of all that tedious work building out the entire data flow graph, your DAG, all on its own.
Okay, so we know what it is. Now let's talk about how to use it without accidentally breaking something. And there's one absolutely critical concept you need to get. It's two operating modes. This is key because one mode actually builds things, and the other one, well, it just gives you advice.
And this breaks it down perfectly. Just think of it like this. Are you here to build, or are you just window shopping? If you're ready to make changes, you use edit mode. It will actually create and update your pipeline. But if you just want to ask questions, get some ideas without changing a single thing, you flip over to non-edit mode. It's your safety net.
All right, enough theory. We know what Copilot is, we know about the two modes. Now for the fun stuff. Let's actually build something and see how we can go from just a simple prompt to a real live pipeline.
It really is this simple, just 5 steps. Number 1, and I can't stress this enough, always create a version control checkpoint first. That's your oops button. Then you just open the chat, type what you want, and, this is important, review what it did. The last step, refining, is where the real power of having a conversation with your AI comes in.
Okay, let's see this thing in action. We're going to start with a super common task, creating a customer dimension table completely from scratch.
I mean, just look at this prompt. It's so simple. You're just telling it what you want, almost like you're sending a message to a teammate. You say the node type, the business key, the columns you want, and that's it. It's just plain English.
And here's what's happening behind the scenes. Copilot isn't just making a text file. It's really acting like a data engineer. It's smart enough to select the right node type, add all your columns, and correctly set that customer_ID as the business key, and it gets all of that from that one simple sentence. It's pretty amazing.
Now for a use case that I think is going to be a total lifesaver for a lot of you. Come on, we all have them. Those ancient, complex SQL queries that have been around forever. What if you could just port them into Coalesce automatically? Well, you can. Yep, that's it. That is the entire prompt. You don't have to explain what the SQL is for. You don't have to tell it how it works. You literally just copy your big old query and paste it right into the chat window.
This is where Copilot really shines. It doesn't just wrap your code in a box. It acts like a data architect. It reads your SQL, figures out where the data is coming from, and builds out the entire pipeline, wiring up all the sources into a proper DAG. I mean, just think about the hours and hours this saves during a migration. It's incredible.
Building a data pipeline is almost never a single command. It's a back-and-forth process, an iteration, and Copilot is built for exactly that. Let's see how you can perfect your pipeline through a simple conversation.
So you can start really broad. You don't need to have every single detail mapped out in your head. Just state your main goal. And what happens is Copilot does that first step and then immediately asks a clarifying question. It knows more information is needed, so it prompts you to keep the process moving.
And your follow-up is just as easy and conversational. You just answer its question, giving it the next piece of the puzzle for your new table.
Now this is where it gets really smart. Not only does it do what you asked, but it anticipates the next logical step. It knows a dimension needs a business key, so it suggests it to you. That kind of proactive help ensures you're following best practices without you having to remember every little detail.
Okay, so Copilot is obviously super powerful. But does that mean you never have to use the traditional graphical UI again? The short answer is no. The real secret to being efficient is knowing when to use which tool for the job.
This table is a fantastic cheat sheet. Basically, reach for Copilot when you need speed. Think rapid prototyping, converting that old SQL, or making a bunch of changes all at once. But when you need precision, fine-tuning individual columns, visually exploring a really complex DAC, that's when you'll want to jump over to the UI.
And this right here is the perfect way to remember it. This is the ideal workflow. Let Copilot do all the heavy lifting and get that initial structure built fast. Then you switch over to the UI to refine, to validate, and to add those final finishing touches. They're two parts of the same whole.
So let's just quickly recap the 4 big takeaways here. First, think of Copilot as your AI teammate. Second, always know your mode. Edit mode to build, non-edit mode just to learn. Third, embrace the conversation. Start simple and refine as you go. And last but not least, remember the mantra: Copilot for speed and the UI for polish.
So there you have it. You've got the blueprint now for building data pipelines with just plain English. The only real question left is the one on your screen. What's the first complex pipeline you're going to build? Go on, open up that chat window and give it a try. I think you'll be amazed.